Okay, this is I told Fremy I would take a break from writing all those resumes and make this video for him. Just showing him where I had gotten to with this, of course, project. So basically, it's like this, what we got so far. So this one was where I had starting Mongo running locally, right? Mongo D, it's running. So then from there we had this one window has, and I am using iTerm. I should have it in split windows, right, Josh? But I have them all in separate windows. Oh, looks like Mongo was still trying to start. Waiting for connections on port 27017, which is the default port for Mongo running locally, so that's good. So then this was starting the actual app. Just start in a second. This, I think, I hope the other Mongo is running already, otherwise it makes an error. But it looks like it finished because it says Mongoose connection is open, so that's good. App API init, Mongoose connection is open, good. And then over here, this is starting my React app. All right, and speaking of which, what I did here was I made a this is all right. So this is Josh's all this starting stuff. I went in here and did a create React app in a folder called client, which Josh said probably this is not the best way to do it, but whatever, we can change. That's, I just wanted to get it working. We can, doesn't have to be in here. I just wanted to get it going, just to play with it. So the client, this is basically create React app space client, and it makes the React app in here. So I just have the main component. Really, there's some other stuff going on here, but don't worry about that. We'll get to that. The main component, the main app.js. What's going on here? First, before we get to that, so we get the app running, right? All right, so we got Mongo. We've got the app is running. Forget about we don't even need the React yet. So I'm using Postman here to add another course. Okay. Yeah. Hello. This is what happens when you have an old Mac and you're trying to do 5 things at once. It does everything I need, but very slowly. 6/11/1970 is my birthday, in case anybody wanted to know. Just had data in here, just, for whatever. So this needed to be in the form raw, and then over here in this dropdown we have sending it as JSON. Okay. First I had a problem where I was trying to do it in form uncoded, and that's why I was just getting, it was creating an entry, but it was just having an ID because it was not sending the data properly, but it was creating an entry, so Mongoose or Mongo automatically creates a user ID, or not a user ID, an ID. So I was getting entries with just an ID because I wasn't sending the data properly, but it was still creating an entry, so it had an ID. Anyway, to get the data to send properly, you do raw and tell it that it's JSON. Put the data here, which I got from in Josh's somewhere in there. I don't know if it's in the README or if it's in one of the schema files. I think that's what. Let's see. Where is it? Mongo queries, maybe, I think is where it was. Yeah, course schema, right? So this is all the fields if we're making a course. So that's where I got that from. It looks just like this, right? So then I just filled it in instead of string, number, date, blah, blah, blah. I put actual values in there. So you do post to this endpoint. right? And hit send. We should have a new course there now. Should return something. Document saved, I guess, right? 5.3, that's today. Okay, so what's it look like? So now this was the one before I just did that. So adding that fourth one should, if I reload this, should be there. There it is. Alex's course, trying to make a fourth course. And apparently I cannot spell course. Look at that. Anyway, so how is this? So React is getting the data now from the database. How's that React thing working? Like I said, I have this. I made this client with Create React App. Okay, and here's the main file. Do not want to look at CSS right now. So what's going on here? I had what I was doing originally. I was calling this fetch in component did mount, but last night Yazid was showing me how to use the new React API for hooks, right? And one of the hooks is use effect, right? So that's this one. So essentially you do stuff that has side effects, such as getting data from an outside source. You put it in use effect, right? So it looks just like you would have done it in component did mount, but you have to add this little bit here. This tells, if you don't put this in here, it's going to make a endless loop, and you don't want to do that. Here you would put a list of things that you want it to monitor, and you say if it's changed, re-render. Since we're telling it there's nothing to look at to change, it looks at the list of things to change and said nothing's changed. So it just does it once on mount, right? It's just like component did mount, right? So now I'm telling it to set state the data into this data, right? So then over here, I made a component, a little card component that has all the fields in it. The key, well, it needs a key. React, you need to make a list of things. It has to have a key, an identifier. Figured the item ID is going to be unique, so I could use that. Name, description, etc., etc. And it maps through and gives me, every time it maps, every loop through the map creates a new one of these cards with that version's data, which is what this is. The first two, like I said, I was not sending data right, so they were being blank, but it had an ID. Then Josh last night showed me how to send it the right way, and I got this course and this course. If you want to see the card component, that's over here. Okay, this doesn't need to be a class probably. We can make this a function component, but whatever, that's not important right now. So it's getting the props from when we're mapping through, right? This dot props dot. I could probably do, Yazid, you can tell me. I could probably do like somewhere in here I could do object destructuring and just do like name and then, well, you know what I'm talking about. I could probably make this a lot cleaner by destructuring the props that are coming in, and then these could be just name, description, start date. That's neither here nor there, but that's something for me to do. But anyway, that's the card component, and again, the app calls that over here. We're mapping through the data that's in the database and giving it into each one of these cards, and I hope that brings you up to speed to where I am with this. And now I will go and send out some resumes. Okay.